Tuesday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show. I am Buddy Martin. That's why it's called the Buddy Martin Show. It's going to be another good one tonight. We got the award-winning David Whitley. I think he has an intrepid reporter on the story about winning the concrete canoe contest. Boy, now the national championship. Yeah. And lots to talk about with college baseball. How about that? When your rival takes your coach. Things are not going well tonight in College Station because the Longhorns came and get their baseball coach. But we'll talk about that, other things coming your way right here in the program. Stay tuned. We've got Loren Meadows up with us. So we've got also Browne, all coming your way tonight on this program. Tell your friends and neighbors that the Buddy Martin Show is hopefully on the air tonight again. We made it.
Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
I'm Buddy Martin, and it's glad to have you back in. Go right to the Orange Blue Room and get David Whitley and see if he's got a tally on that big concrete canoe contest. You heard about it, right? I know David did. Evening to you there, David. It's nice to see you again. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you, buddy. Yes, we have reached a new high point in University of Florida athletics, and I do consider it an athletic event. Canoeing.
Yeah,
number one.
Canoeing, but
concrete canoeing.
Concrete canoeing.
Concrete canoeing, yes.
Yeah.
After a 2-year dethronement by evil Cal Polytechnical State.
Well, that's the rival right there.
Oh, man. They've been dethroned. The Gators are back atop, national champs. You know, you foreshadowed it last week, and I don't know how many of us believed you that they had it together, they had a shot.
It's going to happen. Told you it's going to happen. Predicted right here on this show that it would happen again.
Right. There's, all year, I admit I came out like a month ago and said they weren't elite, but
oh no, don't make that mistake because I did.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think they had it. I didn't think it was their year, but they got it together. It's a great coaching job by whoever the coach is. Name slips my.
Me too. I can't remember. Yeah.
But I mean, definitely hats off. In all seriousness, that's a hard thing to do,
but they're hard heads. I got you. So,
they should be proud.
Here, let me just give you a University of Florida's concrete canoe team has claimed its 4th national title. Look out, Mouse Holloway! Here they come.
That's right.
4th national title, and the 12-member team has Spring Seeker. That's the name of it. Concrete Canoe plays first overall Saturday at the ASC Student Engineering Championships. And we're not making this up. This is true, by the way. You have led the top 5, followed by Laval, Quebec, California Polytechnic Institute at St. Louis Obispo, Virginia Tech, and Western Kentucky. U.S. Concrete Canoe Team also won ASC's virtual competition in 2021 with Polygator. Right? Their canoe for Everglades took top honors in 2015, while the Tom Petty theme Free Floating in the title in 2019.
That's great. I mean, like I said, there are tons of colleges out there that have engineering schools, and we'd like to get into this thing, but I think basically the motto holds true again. It just means more here.
It does, and I can see a concrete canoe statue. front of the
Right. And you mentioned, that this is 4 and Mouse Holloway needs to be 4, but they've yet to win an indoor competition like Mouse has.
There you go. That's true.
Yeah. And now they got to worry about, the transfer portal because, let's face it, Cal Poly's going to want to come get some of those studs.
They want to get some back to country. Well, meanwhile, in the rest of the world, how bad is it to lose the World Series and lose your coach the next day? I mean, to your rival.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's
a bad day at College Station.
As disappointing as the loss was, that's how the game is played. But man, for that is the ultimate kick in the groin if you're a Texas A&M Aggie.
It is.
I mean, this would be. I was going to say this would be like FSU, like Kevin O'Sullivan going to FSU.
Oh yeah, losing and then going to FSU.
Yeah, losing it. Yeah, or it would be like the coach of the canoe team going to Cal Poly.
Don't even think about that.
But man, that hurts. That hurts.
It does. Well, anyway, so Schlossnagle was asked about it last night, and you can almost, if you listen closely, when a coach gives an emotional response to a question without denial, something's going on. It's like, okay, red herring. Let's talk about something. Look over there. It's terrible, And all the while, you knew he was going. It's fine. It happens. I don't know. I don't like lying, but I suppose there are cases like this. Every coach lies about not going to the new job. I love it here. You kidding me? No way. Well, they're gone the next day. That's just the game.
Usually they leave themselves, wiggle room more than sort of like the go-to guy for the last 20 years now has been Nick Saban. When you remember saying his denial that he was ever going to go to Alabama when he was the Dolphins coach, and he said, "I'm not going to be the Alabama coach," and of course he became the Alabama coach, and people hung that around his neck for the longest time.
Yeah,
but I went back to check when he made that flat out denial. They still had a game left. 12 days passed between when he denied it and when he took the job. So things happen. I mean, I don't think 12 hours passed between Schlossnagle and doing it. So he had nothing to lose by just saying, I got to be honest. I love A&M, but I have a deep and long relationship with Chris Del Conte, who was the AD at Texas, and I have a tough decision. I mean, at that point, he knew he was going.
Well, you know what? He didn't have to say that. All he had to say was, "Look, guys, we just had a tough defeat. I'm thinking about those young men right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know about a lot of things. They're thinking of their careers through. It's not a good time to talk about this, so I'm not going to answer more questions about it."
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. But for him to go out and give it I left my family to come to Texas A&M, and I'm never going to go. And I walked all the way from Fort Worth to College Station up
in snow,
right, to get there. And now that I'm here, I never plan to leave. I mean, it was a bit much.
Yeah.
Of course,
it's kind of like
Kiffin-esque.
Almost like I did not have sex with that woman.
Right. I mean, right. Just the denial would have been so much better, and people would have been upset with him anyway, naturally, texting him. But now, I think in general, people are going to hear his name, and he is Nick Saban too. He's going to be the new go-to guy.
Oh yeah,
for someone who comes out and says that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's what happens today in sports. It's big business, and they lie. By the way, you hear about the ratings on the Men's College World Series? Second most watched on ESPN platform.
Yeah.
Second most. 2.82 million viewers. Game 3 had 3.3 million. Game 2 had 8 million. And so, I mean, this college baseball is a thing now. It really is.
Yeah. And, the most they did it without Caitlin Clark. It was just baseball players.
No, she was playing.
Oh, okay. Well,
she was playing left field for A&M, but she tucked her hair under her.
That's right. Because Angel Reese, went out there and bull talked her between innings. But,
of course.
No, it is just great to see because, for so long, with all due respect, it was not an afterthought, but it was just sort of like the thing to do between, in the dead time of year, and it fit the bill. But unless you were a college baseball fan, you didn't really pay attention. But now it's gone beyond that. And I think part of it is because you're seeing guys that you can, one year they're in the College World Series, the next year they're in the majors. It's not like the old days where no matter who you saw out there, it's going, well, he's going to be drafted.
That guy, he's in Queens or something.
Yeah, and you might see him in 5 years.
Yeah,
in
maybe.
The majors. But now, so obviously Paul Skeens comes, he's up there doing in the majors. He's doing, and Wyatt Langford is suddenly turning into Ty Cobb the last 3 weeks.
Oh, really? Wow. How about that?
And so you relate to it, and you can watch, and you can relate to the excitement, the teams, and it still has that pure college competition feel.
It does, and you see them usually more 2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And the townspeople, it's really a popular game among the people who can't afford to get tickets for football.
Yeah.
Older crowd likes to go there, see a baseball game. It's a good setting. It's affordable. A lot of reasons why. And it's gotten very, very popular. And I never knew it was to be this popular. But anyway, meanwhile, did you watch any of the Stanley Cup?
Flipping around, I probably caught a total of 10, 12 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Hockey's incredibly exciting, even though you can't see the puck.
I know. Fox years ago put that thing on.
Right.
And they stopped doing it. I don't know.
Yeah. I got to admit, I liked it, but I would be the kind of guy who liked it because I'm not a traditionalist and I couldn't see the puck.
David, here comes the puck. It's the one.
Yeah. I was in Tampa when the Lightning got there.
Oh yeah.
And I hated having to cover hockey because I didn't know what I was watching.
Yeah.
I would just, you could write the personality type columns and stuff.
It's the blue line, David. The blue line. You got to learn the blue line.
And icing and all that.
What's that icing?
Right. People, and it is a great sport. The friends I know that understand it totally. They are addicted. I have nothing bad to say about it. But
WWE fans, they really get all emotional.
Oh yeah, and the guy, and it is the toughest sport too. When you talk about those guys who, they'll take a puck to the head.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
well, when you get up, yes, he's a hockey player.
Right. Get 28 stitches, in their lip, and then be back for the next skate.
Exactly.
Whereas God knows. Let's just say that they don't do much flopping like LeBron.
I go back to the days when I first started watching. They didn't wear helmets.
Oh!
Everybody had no team.
Right. Yeah, but it was. I didn't. I was interested in just because. What an interesting story. Up 3-0, the Florida Panthers, then 0-3, and said, "Man, talk about a gag." But it turned out. I think it was even better the way they had to win it, and you got to feel for Canada. It's been 30 years now.
30 years, the last that. So here's the deal: Stanley Cups for Florida in the last 30 years, 4. Stanley Cups for Canada, last 30 years, 0. Florida's won more Stanley Cups than the whole country of Canada.
Yeah,
here's sport. That'd be like South America Sunday winning the National Collegiate Football or something. Or basketball.
Right. Or like baseball. Well, that's America's game, and it was invented here.
Yeah, right.
They rightly claim it as their own, and it is a religion up there, and it is hardly a religion down here, and it's got to gall them, and I feel bad, because everybody likes Canada. It's not so. It's not like
Canada. Oh wait.
Whoa, Canada, and there's no real reason that why aren't the Canadian teams better? It's not like, this is, they're playing in the Big West against the SEC. Everybody has, the salary cap. Everybody has, has the draft and all that. These are just, Edmonton, is good. And, now I'm talking out of school because all I really know about Edmonton was Gretzky played there and they won a bunch. And now they got Connor McDavid, who
supposed to be the best player on the Conn Smythe Award. How about that?
Conn Smythe. Yeah. You remember Conn, don't you?
I do.
Yeah,
This is my son, Con.
Yeah, tough growing up. They always call him Con Man. But yeah, and let's say you got to love any sport that has the Lady Byng Trophy.
Absolutely, Lady Byng Trophy. I'm not sure I want to win that, but
No, no. I mean, I would think maybe the WNBA might have that, but
Caitlin Collins. Hey, let's get on the subject tonight that lots of people are talking about. Tony Vitello.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is. There's no in between. There's no neutral on him.
Yeah,
They love him or they hate him. I've heard some really vitriolic things said and read about him. Well, I say, hey, he's classless, he's this, he's that, whatever he didn't say or didn't do. And even last night after they won it, I heard people complain about it. I like the guy, okay? Now, I don't just say that I like having him play my team, but he has got that program juiced up there now. Suddenly, Tennessee has a national champion or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the way he went about his business, people respected him because he took a team in the portal era and carved out a niche for himself, got his players, the more can they hit.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to Woody Page last week. He's a Tennessee graduate. He'll be on the show tomorrow night. In the middle of the second game, they were getting beat, and he was complaining and whining. I don't get the balls. I said, well, I was probably wrong, Woody, but I picked Tennessee because they could hit. Next thing you know, boom, they start hitting the ball.
Yeah.
And they really played well. Here's the incredible number. Tennessee went through 13 years without making it to the NCAA tournament. 13 years without making it. People in Florida would be firing every coach if that happened.
Yeah.
Since then, all right, 5 straight NCAA tournaments, $100 million in stadium upgrades, 3 college World Series berths in 4 years. They won their first national program in history. You think that guy's got a job for life? I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unless he goes to Texas tomorrow, Texas A&M. Oh no!
Of course, lie about it.
Right. No doubt. I mean, he can be brash and outspoken and a hot dog and all that stuff that right. If you're playing against him or you're like, you look at Schlossnagel, forgive me for mispronouncing his name constantly. And he just looks like just an average guy. It's hard to work just seeing the guy and how he operates, at least until yesterday.
Hard to hate him.
Yeah. Yeah. But until it's like, okay, he's just a coach. Like you see Sully, all right, so he looks a little stern, but this guy, well, for one thing, he looks like, sort of like he stepped off the dance floor at Studio 54 in 1977 with the beard and all that. You think he's going to splash on a lot of Aquavelva and that kind of guy. But hey,
Aquavelva reference. Oh, nice.
Or maybe High Karate. That was also big back then. But yeah. But the guy, might makes right, and he has got it right. He's got it going. There's no doubt about it. And yeah, I mean, you got to take, tip your hat to the whole Tennessee thing. I mean, they their program, and I don't know if it was because, Danny White's got a lot to do with it, but everything since he's been there has turned into gold pretty much.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about baseball. And I have a message here from someone who wants to make a comment about women's softball, which we'll do. And we got Rob Browne, the great Rob Browne, standing by in the orange and blue room, packing his bag, getting ready to go to Dallas-Fort Worth for SEC Media Days. Let's just first stop and say this program is being brought to you by Meldon Law. They won't back down. They're a law firm. They're also big gators over there. And Jeffrey supports the program like nobody else. Only official law partner of the University of Florida. Always doing sponsorships of things. Very good scholar athlete night I went to recently. Jeffrey is an excitable Gator fan. He's committed. And he's also committed to law. They have now 4 offices open. Just opened one in Williston. They've had one in Ocala, Gainesville, and Lake City. If you have an issue, perhaps you got a suit already filed or a case for another lawyer, you're not happy with it, you can't figure out what to do about it, you can call them up and say, hey, can you give me a second opinion on this? And they will. So I promise you, if you need help in the arena of law, Meldon Law is the place to go. Meldon Law, they won't back down. You know what else? Well, this dude right here, he won't back down. He's on all over the place. Every time you turn on your computer, there he is. Auburn's Rob Browne. Was it good evening, Robert? You got to turn on your Twitch.
Sorry about that. Had it on mute. I was listening to David talk about the hockey. 30 years without a Stanley Cup. And when we were all growing up, it was a Canadian thing. But that's what's happened with money. I mean, the Florida Panthers and the Lightning in Tampa, what have they won? 3 of the last 6?
Right? It's the hockey state.
Yeah, it's a hockey state.
It's in our blood here, Rob.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Florida 4, Canada 0, and in the
last 30 years. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it ain't going to change any. Canada's got 30 million people. 90% of them live within an hour of the U.S. And a lot of them are coming here. It doesn't surprise me at all. Tony Vitello, I heard y'all talking about him. Ask his players what they think of him. And people can say what they want. I love coaches like him. Cocky, full of, just you would love to play for him. But all the guys that play for him, they'll say they'll run through a wall for him. And I think there's other coaches like that too. But I think a couple of years ago when they were throwing bats in the fur coat, that made some people kind of angry. But it's like, you know what? What do Tennessee players think about it? What do Tennessee's fans? I live with a Vol.
Wait, Rob, it's not a fur coat. It's a coonskin. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
just remember that.
It hadn't been washed in 4 years, and I bet it just smells terrible, like an old gym sock.
No doubt.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, let's talk about Tony Vitello for a second. What makes him so special? David, what do you think he does that's so special? Vitello.
No, I think, as Rob said, he knows how to pull the psychological levers with these guys.
Yeah.
And whether it's, this me against the world attitude, when he got people first, well, they don't like us, and that a chip on the shoulder, let's show them kind of thing. But I mean, you hear it, and if you do like sit down and listen to him after a game, and he had a couple really good press conferences after where he went on a long soliloquy on what the sport means to him and everything like that, and the player, and he almost came off as likable, but you just got to get past that initial. Well, this is just like I said, just a hot dog, a cocky guy, underneath it. He knows what he's doing, and he Rob is right. Those guys, they would do anything for him, and in this day and age where that something extra gets the talent, because they have, everybody's after these guys, and I don't know if they have more NIL money than anybody or whatever, but when you come away and you go and you visit and they offer you a good NIL deal, and now you say, God, I love that coach on top of everything else.
Yeah.
He's going to keep that talent flowing, and it's hard. They're going to be a force, but hey, join the club. A lot of forces in the SEC.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get a couple of questions here. We're going to tighten the MRI hotline. Here's a question. Buddy, do you remember Theron Mitchell? Yes, I do. This guy was a quarterback at Live Oak and a very, very good player. Played against him in high school. I believe he went to, am I wrong, Florida State, I'm not sure. Great athlete from Live Oak. Yeah, I do. Theron Mitchell. This for you, David. Enjoyed David's recent articles on Ledecky and Gator baseball run. Let's talk about Ledecky, David. What a career she's having, huh?
It just keeps going. She when you think, gosh, she showed up as a 15-year-old in London, and she said, she surprised everybody by winning, I guess 800 meters, and she said, then I don't know if I'll ever get back here. This could be as good as it gets, and she just kept going and kept going, and now here we are 12 years later, and she's better than ever. We tend to take it for granted just how good she is. Nobody has won. She showed up and won every freestyle race, from over the 100 meter. 200, 400, 800, 15. And, the longer they were, weren't even close. those like, the 1500, it became like an internet meme, how she was so far ahead, she could have had a sandwich by the time the next person came up there. And there's no real trick. She just trains harder. And I mean, she's obviously talented, but that brings in the Florida stuff, how, and the column I wrote was sort of hitting on how people were surprised to see she was wearing a gator swim cap.
Yeah.
And she went to Stanford.
Yeah.
And so it ruffled a few feathers in Stanford. But she said, Frank, I just knew that I needed to train with Anthony Nesty, because she liked she had seen what he had done with like middle and longer distance swimmers, and she knew that in Stanford they didn't practice men and women together a lot, and she knew that Florida they combine a lot, and she'd be going against she'd be against Caleb Dressel, guys like that, Bobby Finke every day, and she's, that's what I need. And so, I mean, she moved here in 2021 and the results speak for themselves. She just, keeps getting better.
The women athletes of Florida have been extraordinary. Yeah. They really have. You go back, way back, they've been really good athletes. Parker Valby didn't make it. Boy, it broke my heart. She is such a terrific looking young lady. She plays so hard. She runs hard. But she went up against Rob. What was that race? The 500 meters?
5,000. Yeah.
5,000 meters, I mean. And she went up against three women who were 28. Yeah. She's like 21. What a difference it makes in a distance runner to have the extra muscles and stuff. And in the end, she led the whole way until the last two laps. And then they just passed her, all three of them. Unfortunately, only three of them were going to the Olympics, and she got left out. But she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I got a good story down in Gatorade from Loren Meadows, who'll be here in a minute, about how she had a personal best, but it wasn't good enough to make it. But she is going to be a great ambassador for Florida and a really terrific distance runner. Florida's women athletes have been really impressive. DeAndre Gosha says here, love you, buddy. The show last talked to you was about Lady Gators softball. They're laying fireworks with the transfer portal. The coach said, what do you know about that, David?
I know that they picked up, I can't rattle off the names, but like 5 transfers that, if let's put it this way, if Billy Napier was that hot in the transfer portal, people wouldn't be talking about that tough schedule. That'd be they'd be saying, man, he's cleaning up like Lane Kiffin. But what holes they had, it seemed like Tim Walton's patching them up pretty well. And so, I mean, it's like just the Swallows returning to Capistrano. Next year, same old thing. They'll be out there. They'll be winning their 45, 50 games, get a super regional, and that's where it's so competitive. If you get a good break, you'll go. You get the College World Series, a couple of good breaks, you might win it. But the thing is, they're always there. That's all you can. Just get there where you can be at that level. And there's no doubt that that they'll be there next year.
Yeah. I wanted to ask Rob, since he does SEC sidelines, by the way, and you catch him every morning at 9:00 Eastern. He and Brendan Martin, they cover the league. He has some really good guests. If you haven't had a chance to see the program, you should. And there's a lot of talk now about the portal and what's happening, because like Sully right now, he's got like 7 or 8 players in the portal. And one of them was kind of a surprise to the others. Are like, okay. But today, Michael Robertson went in the portal. He was the hero of that game. Remember, David? He drove in the winning run in the World Series and played a really good center field. I'm not sure what happened there, but you're going to lose people, and especially in baseball where they aren't getting that much anyway. You give them meal money, Rob, and they'll come play for you. So it's just the nature of the beast, but it is hard. What are you picking up now, Rob, in your conversation with your people about how things are going in the portal?
Well, I mean, we started the dead period yesterday, and there's nearly for the next month, a lot of people are taken off. Coaches, a lot of media people, writers, whatever. But that doesn't mean stuff's going to shut down. But right now, I think there's just summer workouts. We talked with Nancy Porter today, Rebel Yell Hotline. They feel like they've got 12 defensive linemen that they can trust. They're doing well. But really, it's been in recruiting. The high school kids. Ohio State got another commitment today. They now have 2 of the top 6 kids in the state of Alabama. They got Zion Grady out of Enterprise, and they've got offered number 1 kid in the state out of Parker in Birmingham. I'll just make a prediction here right now. All they're doing is putting a sign out there to the boosters at Auburn and Alabama and saying, just pay us more and we'll stay. That's what's going to happen. Those kids will not leave the state of Alabama if they know what's good for them. Ohio State, they're coming down here. They're going to – I mean, Florida's a big enough state where you can feel that. State of Alabama this year has 17, 18 4-stars, 3 5-stars, which is a lot for a state of 5.1 million people. But the portal, it's kind of slowing down now. And I think we got – in October, it's going to be 6 years worth of data that we can look at and start extrapolating a lot of numbers and saying almost 50% of these kids aren't even getting picked up. I mean, we're all old enough to remember the end of the school year, our friends on the football team, you pick the sport, they met with the coaches, and they said, buddy, we only go 5 deep. We don't have a 6th. We talked with Tyler Siskey on our show on the – this was great on the Football Roundtable Friday. And he talked about, he played for 3 years for Terry Bowden. Tommy Tuberville came in and said, Tyler, I just signed 5 wide receivers in the recruiting class. If you want to run through that tunnel onto the football field again, you're going to need to find another school. I'll help you. And he went to Troy. And he was on that staff with Hugh Freeze that went out and got Robert Kimdichie and Laquan Treadwell. He was at Alabama with Billy Napier for several years. I mean, that was one of the best, guests we've had in a long time. But I think I think the high school kids, I think there's going to be more of an emphasis of getting the in-state kids at Florida. In y'all's case, at Auburn and Alabama in-state, and losing a kid. If a kid commits early to go out of state, he's just saying to the in-state schools, show me more money. But portal-wise, Ole Miss is doing a great job. But I also think something we talked about, Tyler did a dissertation when he was doing his GA work, and it was about the shrinking window of time given to coaches. And he said, Frank Beamer's first 7 years at Virginia Tech, he would have never survived in today's microwave society. He said, Nick Saban would have been fired at Michigan State. And Frank Duffy said, we would have never known about him at LSU. And Doug Dean said, the rest of the SEC never would have been so lucky as to have the great Sabanator come down here. So I think it's working out. I think the free market is working its way through. And I heard you talking about Ledecky and the swimmers. Y'all, if you've ever gone to the pool in Gainesville or Auburn and you see 13, 14 national championship banners hanging up there, and you see all these foreign athletes that come here and compete at Florida or Auburn or SEC schools, and then they compete for their countries in the Olympics. Florida and Auburn in some years are in the top 5 in the world when you count the athletes that are at their school that are swimming for their other countries. Florida's been that way before everybody else was. So I think, David, doing a story like that, I'm wearing a gator cap. I'll put it this way. If I'm swimming, somebody's wearing a gator cap in the lane next to me, my adrenaline's going to be, I'm going to be, I'm going to be going, okay, this is a great white shark in the water. I'm glad you're writing about that.
Yeah. When I was looking at doing some research on that, the most amazing thing she's done, and it's a big internet thing, was she swam the length of a pool with balancing a glass of chocolate milk on her head. I don't know if you've seen that, Rob. Where she had a snorkel so she could breathe and have to turn her head. But she started at 50 minutes and the thing just steady as can be. And she got done other end. She took it off, drank her chocolate milk.
Yeah.
I did that with a beer one time.
I love it. Whatever liquid you can put up there, and that is a feat. to be able to do that. You know, and I mean, it shows how much, nobody has the discipline that like swimmers do. I mean, just
well, first of all, you
hour,
get up at 4 o'clock every morning the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, and you're just looking at the bottom. I played golf once with a guy, so at a pro-am, and it said Edwin Moses. I said, Edwin Moses? I said, the hurdler? He said, no. It says no. There's a swimmer named Edwin Moses. And I said, really? He was an Olympian. He may have gone. I forgot where, but he went to some school in the South, and he was legit. He was an Olympian. Mm-hmm. And he had stopped, and he decided he wanted to become a golfer. And this is at Bay Hill, and he was good. He was shooting, in the mid 60s and all that. But that was just he didn't really make it. But I said, well, what's it like going out there and playing golf and practice? He says, man, after spending 8 hours a day staring at the bottom of the pool for the last 15 years, this is nothing. It was easy going out there and playing golf. It was fun, but but the discipline it takes to, like you said, get up early and just. It's just you and your brain. You're in your mind when you're swimming. There's no distractions.
Yeah, we call it black lion fever. I love to swim. Some days I'll swim every day of the week. I have my gear in my truck all the time, and I'll just stop wherever I am, if I'm traveling. There's a Y everywhere, and just go knock out a swim. But I remember an old guy used to swim in about 3 lanes over from me at the Y. He used to take his leg off, get in the water, knock out 1.5 miles. Get back out, put his leg back on, and the guy was in his late 80s. Phenomenal shape. But real athletes don't wear shoes. You know that bumper sticker. So Florida's all. What I love is this discussion. I think it's awesome that a writer like you and a writer like Buddy are writing about these. They are the Olympic sports. But you think about it, track and field. The Ed Murphy Track Classic is coming up July 11th, 12th, and 13th in Memphis. That's a friend of mine since kindergarten. His father won the SEC mile. Ed Murphy, he was roommate with Johnny Majors at Tennessee. And last year, Eddie goes, I went to one of the meetings, and there were 4 Gator coaches at that meeting up in Memphis. Florida track and field is global. You ask any track and field athlete, when they go to an airport traveling around Paris, Beijing, Sydney, they're more recognized than American football and basketball players. It's a fact. Track and field is huge, or as my kids say, ginormous around the world. And if we want to invest in America, let's put a track and field in neighborhoods. I'm going to tell you what, that'll change. Also drive up the property values in the neighborhood too. But you know what? Yeah. Track and field, that's how we get Herschel Walkers and Earl Campbells and Bo Jacksons. Track and field is your insurance policy for every sport you play. I love it.
You had to pick one. Would you do track or field?
You always had money. 14 years of volunteer coaching my kids in middle school. We called it money in the bank deposits. The discus, the shot, the long jump, the high jump. If you got good people there before all the running events start, you're probably going to win the meet. So I'll take
David. David, did you watch on the Olympic trials at all?
Yeah, I've been watching those because I'm sort of a track geek.
Yeah,
and Eugene is just such a unique spot.
Loren just did a story on it.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to come on the show with me and Eddie Murphy to talk about this thing? I would love to have you on talking about that because they had last year. They were like, I was standing around all these Olympians.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy?
Yeah, not the.
Oh, okay.
Different one.
Okay.
But
right.
I would love to get you on talking to Eddie because they had the high jump. They had the high jump on Beale Street a couple of years ago. There were 20,000 people down there watching it. They set it up on Beale Street in Memphis.
Really?
His track, look, they're doing it at the South Campus at the University of Memphis. I got to get your contact information, buddy. I got to get him on to talk with Eddie because if you're a track and field guy, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. One of my first memories was the 68 Olympics when Dick Fosbury said, this is going to surprise you people. Look what he's going to do. Yeah. And he went over backwards and it was like, the wheel has been reinvented here.
Yeah.
God. And you go, what in the world? And, now it's, it became, within 6 months, everybody was doing it.
Yeah. Those little track and field. Well, I tell you about our friends that help sponsor this program, TitanMRI.com. Before Loren gets there, Titan MRI wants you to know they are in this to help you have a better customer experience. If you're looking for an MRI and no one likes to go and do those things, one, it's hard to get a time where you can go during the day. Number two, it's claustrophobic sometimes. Number three, it's expensive. Well, here's the deal with Titan. They want you to know they will custom make you an appointment. If you want to come down there at night or weekend, they will have an appointment set up for you. If you don't have insurance, they'll take cash or card, and it's not terribly expensive. I know I've seen the prices on it compared to what you might think. And number three, they want you to have a good experience. They have special kinds of place for you to have your MRI. Well, they have larger sports in the camera, and it won't be so crowded inside that MRI little cubby hole you go into. So if you're interested in any of that, go to TitanMRI.com and check them out. TitanMRI.com. Good evening, Loren Meadows. We've been talking about stuff here that you like. That would be track and field. And I was just talking about how much fun it's been to watch trials. And you wrote a nice story that's in Gator Bait right now, which I'd like you to share. Of all those athletes, which one was the most impressive?
Well, I think the most impressive has probably been, Noah Lyles, just based upon his ability to, known as a 200 runner throughout the early parts of his career, and then now to translate down to the 100 meters and basically, running close to the times that Usain Bolt was running. But I think the person that has benefited the most has to be Florida's or former Florida Gator Anna Hall.
I'm telling you, do you guys know about Anna Hall?
You're the one who brought her up. I learned about her from you.
I love, it was one of my favorite movies of Woody Allen's.
No.
No, but I think if you look at just her personality, I think the the connection now to Jackie Joyner-Kersee. I mean, she's basically the second best heptathlete in American history. The closeness that they've begun to establish, as far as her being a mentor to Anna, and with Anna being, I think she's 22 years old, young, and just on the cusp of greatness. But I think people are really starting to see her personality. Self-proclaimed goofball, but just fun-loving, really engaged into the fans and things like that. So I think she's really on, if she can kind of duplicate what she's done in the last two world championships with a bronze and then a silver and then possibly gold in the heptathlon. But either way, I think she's going to have a good enough showing, and has got that bright smile, great personality, easy to talk to. I think she's on her way. And then you got to throw Sha'Carri Richardson in there as well. Just her ability to, really deal with some things off the track, kind of put it together and kind of show that last year wasn't a fluke. She seems to be in a good headspace as well. So, that first week they're off for a couple of days. They come back on Thursday, and that's kind of been the story of the first few days of the trials. But I think Anna Hall has done well for herself, both on the track and off the track, if you know what I mean, with her performance the past couple of days.
She is special. Number one, I've seen her compete before. She's a heptathlete, and I turned on TV and I saw this woman, very, how do I say this, not being sexist, very attractive, very lithe figure, very and feminine, throwing a shot put. She flung that thing. I mean, wow.
Right.
Most shot putters I've seen look like nose guards. Wow. I saw her do that. And then her backstory is so good about how she was injured and got herself back together, and now she's competing. She is going to be, you mentioned in your story that she's starting to get a lot of traction. People are really thinking she's going to become one of the darlings of the track team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, going all the way back, and that's why I kind of named the article Back to the Future, because, she was kind of set up, in 2021 at the trials to kind of make that next step. And unfortunately, in the first event, fourth hurdle, hit the hurdle, broke her foot, was able to come back from that, really get herself together both mentally and physically. And then coming off a great 2023, decided to have knee surgery and in January. And, that can never always, never fluid and when you may come back. But, she had a good team. Obviously, she's at one of the best places for medical rehab, maybe in the world, here at the University of Florida. And she's coached by some, obviously Mouse Holloway is kind of the head, but great jumps coach, great throws coach. And yeah, just, really, really good for her. Because I think she was kind of doubting herself kind of early on to see how that knee would hold up. But, she won the high jump in the heptathlon. And I think that's really what then really you could kind of start to see the confidence grow. Yeah. And then, going into the second day, I mean, she's just, she's the best 800 runner in the heptathlon. She's right there. She's a world-class long jumper. I mean, it just fits for her to really make a play. I mean, she's going to catch, it's going to be tough for her. I mean, there's a girl from Germany, Great Britain, a couple of them that really will give her a hard time in Paris. But the beauty of it is she can get it out the way, and she has basically over a month to get right and really rest up and fine tune for Paris. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, I love when I see a person like this. I see Star. I see a woman like that. And I see Star. Mm-hmm. I just see them as being someone that the media is going to gravitate to. And guys, let's face it, we'll have the Olympics come along here soon, and these athletes will be out there. We'll say, wait a minute, where'd they come from? Well, they went to Auburn. Whatever. I don't remember that person. I didn't follow them. So all of a sudden, these athletes going to pop up. When do they start? Start the 26th of July. Is that right, Lauren?
Yeah, I think so.
They didn't want to interfere with SEC Media Days, so they delayed it.
Yeah. So,
correct.
And what's cool, buddy, is I don't know if you guys know this, but if you've ever been to Paris, which I think is cool whenever I talk about the Olympics, normally they have the parade of nations that kind of just comes around the track or wherever they're going to be. But this year they're going to have actually barges for each country, and they're going to go down the Seine. So they're going to set stands up on each side of the Seine, and the athletes will, come through on the river. So that should be a pretty cool sight.
The Gators are going to be in like a concrete barge, I heard. Yeah. But, about Anna Hall, I mean, you're right. You can tell that by the way NBC covered her, that they have designated her as one of their darlings.
No doubt about it.
And she is going to get a lot of, Simone Biles is going to, but they build the games around certain personalities.
Yeah,
and
true.
Anna Hall, they have designated as one of those personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing nobody's mentioned, and I don't know if it's still true, but a year ago, her boyfriend was none other than Ben Shelton. And I don't know if they're still a thing or not, but somebody needs to ask, because that'll just add to the whole mystique.
Breaking news, that is no longer.
Okay.
But
okay. Your finger is on the pulse more than I.
Unfortunately, I know a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case anymore.
Yeah. Has she switched to Alcaraz? That'd be even better.
I don't know. That's her business. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, you're the gossip.
She's gonna be. Yeah.
No, I'm not the gossip guy.
Yeah, you are. Come on.
No.
Well,
no. I keep my relationship gossip to myself.
Yeah. But I was going to also Valvy. I was reading today. I saw how she still has a pretty good chance of making the team, because a couple of those
alternate
women, they're probably going to run the 1500 meters. And the way the schedule is, they probably won't be able to do both, and both are more 1500 meter types. And so there's a pretty good chance, they said, that one of them will choose to do that and not run the 5,000, which means that Parker would. And it points out how important it was for her. I mean, when she got left the other night, and but she kept going because she knew she had to get that qualifying, and she did by half a second. So I mean, she's in now. So I think there's a pretty good chance we're actually going to see her out there.
And good for her too, because I mean, she ran her race. I mean, she's used to running out front, and they kind of boxed her in early, and you could see her go to the front because that's where she's comfortable. So, good for her not kind of falling into that pack trap a little bit and getting out front and running her race for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, let's talk for 1 second about football. Finish up the show. I want to. Gave myself an attitude check over the weekend. All complaining about NIL, about what's going on with football, what's happening in the transfer portal, not up. But I just said, buddy, you've been asking for this for 30 years, talking about why you shouldn't have these cupcake schedules, why they should just get down to bare knuckles with 60 or 65 teams and let them play it down and have playoffs. And now you got it with 12 teams making the playoff. All of a sudden, Rob, this season is here. And it's going to be a humdinger because there's some things that we aren't going to like about it, but there's a lot we will like it about it. There are going to be some teams that don't make it that should, and teams that shouldn't make it that do. It's going to be a topsy-turvy. It's going to be one hell of a football season, Rob, I do think.
Look, and I've been getting texts from my friend Eddie Murphy, who's out in Oregon at the trials right now. So, Loren, you and David might have to come on together with me, and we'll talk with Eddie. That's Loren, my friend Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy, yes. His father, Ed Murphy, won the mile when he was at Tennessee. He was roommate with Johnny Majors back in the day, and Mr. Murphy died about 10 years ago. Incredible runner. I mean, but Eddie's another great runner. Famous picture of him and his 4 teammates, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfect 15 in the cross country state championship. But I love track and field. And he's out there right now. He's going all over the world with these athletes. But as far as football goes, one of the smartest men I've ever known, Henry Barnett, worked for our family for years. He used to say, Rob Jr., it ain't the doing in life that's so bad, it's the dreading. Let's get to work. Once we start playing these games, practice starts, media days start, all this craziness out there goes out the window. And you're just looking around you and going, here we go again. The smell of fresh cut grass, practice, the coaches, we do our thing. And people are just worrying. That's just the absence of faith. I got more faith than a lot of people. I know I do. I absolutely do. But I think it's going to be an awesome football season. And what makes college football so special is that with a 12-team playoff, there'll be the argument for 13 and 14 and 15. That's what fuels it. When the NCAA Final Four is over Monday night, that's it. A few people, in the office the next morning are talking about it. Not that we don't like basketball, but it's right back to spring practice. College football started November 6th, 1869. Rutgers 6, Princeton 4. We've come a long way. And Coach Dye said one time, ain't nothing the federal government ever did pulled people together in the South like college football. Nobody cares, black, white. It's the greatest unifier we got. People love it. It pulls people together. We ain't giving that up. It's not happening. It's going to be the game's getting better. Tony Barnhart's right. Not even the adults can screw it up. And David Whitley, I quote you daily, like I've got the gospel out here. It's pretty much idiot proof. And then Loren, I like, because this is not a Kool-Aid show. Some feel good about Billy Napier, some don't. But we had a good talk with Tyler Siskey, who's friends with Billy Napier. They've coached together. He said, in the world we live in today, we'd have never heard of Frank Beamer. We would have never heard of Nick Saban. He'd have been fired at Michigan State. I think if you look at what happened to Tennessee after they ran off Phil Fulmer, look what they did. They wandered in the wilderness 14 years before they had a double-digit win season, 11-2 in 2022. I'm just saying, at Florida, again, as someone who plays against y'all, you're on a gravy train with biscuit wheels. I mean, I know that's a kingpin term, but I think it's going to be an awesome football season, and they're just going to keep getting better.
David?
Man, they ought to hire Rob is like put him in charge of if you'd ever run the NCAA, just the sheer enthusiasm, man.
I've been eating sugar cookies, I'll admit.
Man, I'm ready. I want to strap it on and go out there. But, but you're right. The problem is during talking season, since the season, you talk about the off-field stuff because that's what's happening. But once the once the on-field stuff starts
Yeah.
happening, people are going to say, they're going to, this is better than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of games that people will be salivating over, and these huge games, consequential games every week, between Titans, and it's, people are going to say, we should have been doing this long ago, especially when you get to the playoffs, saying, what took so long?
Yeah.
Loren?
Well, a couple of things. The first thing is, I think the day I met Buddy Martin, he told me about his super conference idea, standing on the Gator Walk back in 2016. That might be the first thing. So I will give him credit for that, kind of going the direction we're going. And then number two, I think what kind of overshadows what's going to be the excitement of the game, and I've said it on this show, is, because of NIL, the new video game that a lot of people love to get involved in comes back after an 11-year hiatus. So the middle of July is going to bring a lot of excitement. The players are now, gaining a little financial reward from being in the game and things like that. So I think that's going to be part of it. And then, like I've always said, once they kick off, at least for 2.5, 3 hours, all that NIL stuff goes out the window, and we get to enjoy what is slowly becoming America's favorite game. And that's what it's about. So, you look at just everything that we have in front of us in the next few months. And, I kind of had a discussion with another gentleman in the media this past weekend about what will be Billy Napier's future. And the one thing I caution Florida fans, even though I've been as hard on Coach Napier on a lot of things as anybody, is the fact that you don't want to be Nebraska. You talk about Tennessee wandering in the wilderness, but what about Nebraska?
Great point.
And you continue to go, and you continue to go, and you continue to go, and you just keep dropping guys off. Eventually, Florida could easily be Nebraska. And I hope that, Billy Napier gets it turned around, and in some ways I hope they have the patience. I may not have the patience, but I'm not the one making the decisions. So, it's a cautionary tale sometimes to pull the trigger too fast. I just hope that I hope that this season brings all the rewards that it should. And this time next year, we're looking forward to it again.
10 seconds apiece. I was asked this on Shane's show. Start with you, Loren, then go to David and finish up with Rob. Your surprise team this year in the SEC.
10 seconds, surprise. Do I have 10 seconds to answer or 10 seconds to say why?
10 seconds to think about it. That's
10
it.
seconds
You're
to
up.
think about
Time's
it.
up.
Surprise. I am going to say Florida Gators.
That's what I said. David?
Well, I won't say Florida Gators because it's been taken. So, the team.
Can't use the concrete canoe team either.
Yeah,
Okay.
no concrete canoe team. I don't know if people will be surprised, but I think Hugh Freeze is going to start making his presence felt. And I don't think many people will be surprised by that, but I think Auburn's going to make some noise this year.
Rob, that's your team. Who are you going to pick?
Tennessee. Nico Iamaleava, James Pierce, the edge rusher, and the Haslam family. Every time you go to a Pilot gas station, you're supporting Tennessee NIL. And Mr. Bucky's Travel Plazas, he's an Aggie, by the way.
I knew that. Yeah.
Bigger and better, yeah.
Can I say something real quick about
Bucky's? Yeah, the world's largest Bucky's is coming to Ocala, right, buddy?
Yes.
they are?
It is.
Yeah. Told you we ran out of gas in 1973 on the way to Disney World. My dad wouldn't get gas. We ran out. Carload of hippies picked him up. He came back an hour later. I don't know what they were doing, but I'll never forget Ocala, Florida. I thought my mother was going to kill him. Bob, I told you, don't. I'd never seen him get mad except on a family trip. But man, I want to say something for y'all. I watch Oklahoma a lot. KREF radio. You ought to see what they are doing in Norman, June 30th and July 1st. They're going to fill up Gaylord Family Stadium in Norman. They have food trucks, bands. Paul Feinbaum is doing his show there July 1st. These people are so jacked up about coming to the SEC, and in Texas, not even anything is bigger than this SEC story. So, I mean, and the Gators go out there November 9th to Texas. That is going to be the number 1 and 2 football states for high school football players in America. That's the Super Bowl of blue chips.
By the time we get to September, they will have invented the SEC.
You can't,
of course,
you can't throw bats in the SEC though when you get a walk. So,
Yeah.
Hey guys, great job.
Inside flow. But.
We got it. David, you're smiling like you had something else to say, David. What do you want to make?
Well, by this time next week, the SEC will be.
I know.
We'll be in it.
Yeah.
June 1st. They're here.
Strap it on, boys and girls.
July 1st.
Time to go. Hey guys, great job, all of you. Thank you. Appreciate
thank you so much.
Have a good night. And
y'all too. Have a great night. Enjoyed it.
Thank you, guys. All right. Always good to have those guys on. Knowledgeable people, and we'll say goodnight to them and tell you about our friends at Renstar Medical Research, who've been supporting this program for a long, long time, and supporting our community of Ocala and looking out for our health. They're a firm locally owned in Ocala by my friends, Joe Sorrentino and Mary Brantley. And they specialize in these clinical trials, which are so critical to us to have because we're constantly updating our method for treating our diseases that we have. And the only way they know how to treat them is to get the local DNA and track it, get the results, send it off to a clinical trial to some of these large companies that do things like this and medical companies and find ways to treat us. So I would encourage you, if you're interested in being a part of a clinical trial, it may be one where you'll just take the placebo. You won't even know it. It's simple, easy to do. And if you want to be a part of a study, you can look up on Renstar.net and see what they're having. And if you'd like to be a part of it, and in many cases, you'll be compensated if you're chosen for your time and travel. They need that data to be able to send off to the companies to be able to find out what we need to do to get healthier. So just let me say, they are very good people interested in your health and mine. They do a terrific service. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers for the health questions of today. Good show tonight. Thanks to David Whitley. Thanks to Rob Browne and Loren Meadows. Don't forget, tomorrow night we have Woody Page on. Woody Page is gloating about his Tennessee Vols World Championship. Yeah, World Championship of College. And check it out tomorrow night. I'm Buddy Martin. Have a good night. And thank you for listening and watching. Be sure and tell your friends we're on here. And we're on here 4 nights a week. Love to have them come join us as well. It's pretty simple to do. Love to have you. Have a great night. Good night, folks.